This is the true story of Jennifer Patterson, a woman who believed she had found her dream home, only to discover that some houses do not want new owners. At 24 years old, Emily Carter believed she was finally stepping into the life she had always wanted. It was the summer of 2008, and after years of living close to her parents, she was ready for independence. What mattered most to her wasn't luxury or size, it was land. She had grown up around horses, and her one non-negotiable dream was to keep them at home on her own property. That opportunity came unexpectedly when her father mentioned a property owned by an older man whose parents had recently passed away. The house sat on 5 acres of land and included a barn. For the price, it felt almost too good to be true. Curious, Emily agreed to take a look. The moment she stepped onto the property, she felt drawn in. There was a small pond behind the house, a simple front porch, and exposed wooden beams inside that gave the place a rustic charm. It wasn't modern, but it had character. Emily could already picture her horses grazing outside and herself building a quiet life there. She bought the house without hesitation. Before officially moving in, Emily visited the property with a coworker who was curious to see it. They entered through the garage, which opened into a long hallway that stretched toward the back of the house. Almost immediately, her friend froze. "Who else is here?" she asked. Emily laughed it off. No one else had a key, but her friend insisted she had just seen someone walk across the hallway near the back bedrooms. Emily checked. Nothing. No one was there. Her friend grew uneasy, saying the house felt watched, heavy, wrong somehow. Emily brushed it aside. Old houses had strange atmospheres, she told herself. Once she began moving her belongings in, subtle oddities followed. In the master bedroom, the air carried the faint scent of old age, like stale furniture in time. But every time Emily turned to leave the room, a sharp wave of aftershave, strong, outdated, unmistakably masculine, would hit her nose. It wasn't lingering. It moved, as though someone had passed behind her. She searched the bathroom cabinets and closets. Nothing. The smell followed her through the hallway, appearing only when she turned around, vanishing when she faced forward. It felt personal, intentional. After settling in, Emily noticed something else. When she returned home from work, she often heard voices inside the house. Not loud, not clear, but undeniably human. Conversations carried through rooms that were supposed to be empty. Radios were off. The television was silent. At night, she sometimes heard voices coming from the bedroom across the hall. Whenever she tried to locate the source, the sound stopped. Then came the music. Old music. Twangy, distant, like country songs from decades ago. She searched for passing cars, neighbors, anything that could explain it. There was never a source. Still, Emily kept telling herself the same thing. It was just an old house. Despite the strange occurrences, Emily decided to host a housewarming party. She wanted to create good memories inside the home, to claim it as hers. Friends filled the space with laughter, noise, and life. Midway through the night, a man she didn't know, her friend's boyfriend, approached her with a serious expression. "There are people in this house," he said. Emily laughed. "Yeah, we're having a party." "No," he replied quietly, "they're not alive, and they don't want you here." She told him to relax, assuming he was trying to scare her, but he insisted the house belonged to them, a man and a woman, and that she wasn't welcome. After that conversation, he vanished. He didn't leave with anyone. No one saw him again that night. The next day, Emily mentioned it to her friend, who casually explained that her boyfriend claimed to be psychic. Emily dismissed it as nonsense. Around that same time, a coworker recognized Emily's address and shared unsettling information. The home had been built decades earlier by a deeply religious man named Harold Bennett for his wife. They raised their children there. When his wife died inside what was now Emily's bedroom, Harold changed. He withdrew completely, refusing to touch anything his wife had once handled. He died in the house a year before Emily moved in. The activity escalated soon after. One evening, Emily noticed the attic door hanging slightly open. She closed it firmly, testing the latch. Later, while watching television, the attic door exploded open with force, slamming against the frame. Her dogs erupted, hair standing on end, barking violently up the stairs. Emily didn't go near it. Then the basement flooded whenever it rained. While removing damaged panels one afternoon, Emily heard a voice. "Get out!" She froze, unsure if she imagined it. "Get out!" As she ran for the stairs, something grabbed her leg. Fingers wrapped tightly around her calf. She tore herself free and fled. That was when Emily finally admitted the truth. Her house was not empty. Months passed, and the activity became more aggressive. One night, Emily returned home to see a massive shadow standing inside her living room window. Her dogs went wild. When her brother arrived to check, no one was there. She began confiding in a coworker named Ryan, a rational, science-minded man who initially doubted her. But after she was shoved down the basement stairs, injuring herself badly, his skepticism faded. Eventually, they began dating. When Ryan moved in, things worsened. Flies appeared in the spare bedroom by the hundreds. They died, were cleaned up, and returned overnight. No smell, no source. One evening, an object launched itself across the hallway, striking the wall at the same height it had been stored. Ryan had no explanation. Later, Emily woke to see a black silhouette standing beside her bed. It was darker than the darkness around it. Another night, the locked bedroom door opened on its own. Then came the bang, a deafening impact against the front door that sounded like someone breaking in. Ryan searched the house and property with a gun. Nothing was disturbed. When their young son began talking to someone unseen, showing books to empty space, they knew they couldn't stay. Paranormal investigators were called in. EVP sessions captured male voices. Sounds were recorded with no physical source. Even investigators suspected the evidence was staged until a second visit proved otherwise. A cleansing failed. They were told the entities could not be removed. Emily refused to risk her children's safety. They left the house for good. Afterward, her parents moved in to renovate and experienced activity themselves. Objects moving, footsteps, doors opening. The house was sold. Years later, Emily shared her story publicly. Television dramatized it, exaggerating details she never claimed. What she experienced was terrifying enough without embellishment. Since leaving the house, the activity stopped. She believes the spirits were bound to the place they loved and enraged by change. Some houses don't want to be lived in, they want to be remembered.